All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good to have you here. We're having another masterclass edition on the Precision Agriculture Incubation Program Cohort 3. And today we're going to be discussing on the topic becoming a certified drone professional. And I think this course is going to expose you to the nitty-gritty of what is required of you to become a certified or be addressed as a certified drone professional. So we have an expert in the house. He's a seasoned drone professional. He'll be taking us through the topic, and so do how to invite your colleagues that we are currently live so they can join us soon as possible. Alright. So you can also drop your location, your address, where you're joining from. I think we all know the drill already. So good morning. Alright, so before I bring up our speaker for today, I quickly want to share a bit about the PIP and the academy itself. So this is Precision Field Academy, the organizer of Precision Agriculture Incubation Program. At Precision Field Academy, it's also a digital agriculture training school, training students on the concept of precision agriculture, and drone technology is part of the technology we are using. So let's get going. So at Precision Field Academy, we have a vision to create a world where every young person, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to become a digitally savvy farmer or agricultural professional, driving sustainable and equitable growth in their communities through the transformative power of technology. And our mission is to raise next generation farmers that are tech inclined and digitally savvy. So Precision Field Academy is a social enterprise where we are focused on training and building the capacity of young professionals in modern and emerging technologies for the future of work and to lead with precision agriculture. So we have core methodology, education and knowledge sharing, training and skill development, coaching and mentorship. And we also have 6 techs in focus: drone technology, GIS, data science, robotics and IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning and enterprise development. So why do we do what we do? We discovered there is a skill gap that needs to be closed. So young professionals need to build skills, both technical and enterprise skills, for the future of work in agriculture. Also, observing the trend is not just enough. So youth need to become an enabler and a player in the fourth agricultural revolution and not just mere trend observers. Thirdly, technology is a very powerful tool and it can be leveraged to unlock the African agricultural potential. So why should you join us? We are creating the future we want in agriculture. We connect you to the world of information and opportunities. We come in terms of scholarship, internship and volunteership platforms on both local and international scale for your career growth. Also, we also share skill development, and we're doing this through project collaboration, community sensitization and interaction, university wide workshops and symposium. Also, you have access to coaching and mentorship from our industry leaders and global professionals around the world. So at Precision Field Academy, we are building a community of young tech inclined and digitally savvy farmers and professionals. So we have various courses from drone to GIS to data science to robotics to AI, machine learning, enterprise development. So for this edition of the Architect Drone Broadcast, for this edition of the PIP program, that's Cohort 3, I want to appreciate our partners: Integrated Area Precision Limited, Dev Global, DG Academy, Dev Africa, International Society for Precision Agriculture, HISPA, African Association for Professional Agriculture (APA), and also these three institutions below are Federal University of Technology Abeokuta, we have River State University, and Federal University of Technology Mina. These are the institutions. The institutions below are the places where we're going to be hosting our on-site edition of this training. So, meet our global faculties, we have carefully selected professionals and seasoned experts in their career space all around the world on different subject matter, from drone to GIS to robotics, machine learning, AI, and also business management and operations. So then we'll talk about PIP, Operational Agriculture Incubation Program. Just to share one clearer roadmap, the Operational Agriculture Incubation Program is a youth-centric digital agriculture capacity building program from the staple of Christian Field Academy, the classic African Digital Agriculture Training School, causing rapid transformation in the global agriculture sector through comprehensive and exclusive training of youths on the concept of precision agriculture technologies and its application to solve today's pressing challenges emanating in the agricultural landscape, to strengthen and stabilize economic prosperity. So, recognizing the transformative potential of precision agriculture, we discovered that there is an urgent need to equip young emerging farmers, agricultural professionals, and aspiring agripreneurs who falls into the demography of youth with the need for requisite knowledge and skill to harness the technology effectively for global opportunities and exploits. So, the Precision Agriculture Incubation Program addresses the need by providing comprehensive training in key areas such as drone, GIS, data science, robotics, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, personal branding. So through this program, our previous participants for Cohort 1 and Cohort 2 were empowered to embrace innovation, optimize their farm management practices, relying on digital technologies to farm more efficiently, and most importantly contribute to the overall advancement of the agriculture sector by creating local content solution. So we have course 7 objective. Number 1 is to close the knowledge and skill gap of participants about precision agriculture technologies and practice. Number 2 is to raise the next generation of agricultural remote pilots. And number 3, we want to groom young agriculture professional, agriculture leaders and stakeholders for global exploit. Number 4, we are aiming to build the capacity of youth in the aspect of technology application in agriculture. Number 5, we want to promote the adoption of innovative and sustainable farming technologies that improves agricultural productivity and resource management. Number 6, we're looking at fostering entrepreneurship and encouraging participants to develop technology-driven solutions for agriculture challenges. Lastly, which is number 7, is for us to create a network of digitally empowered young agricultural professionals who can drive positive change in the agricultural industry. So we have various programs at Christian Field Academy, from training on licensing to basic drone training. We also have specialized courses for agronomies, on phytomapping masterclass, crop health monitoring, inspection, and all. So this is more like our social impact program, and this is tailored at achieving 4 things majorly. The summary of the objective, now bringing them down to 4 things, is to build capacity of youth through digital skill. We also have gender inclusivity, encouraging women to be involved in digital agriculture. Also policy advocacy, when youth are well exposed and informed about these technology trends and the reality of what is happening. So when they have the opportunity to be in government, they can help shape policies and regulations that could be able to enable the wide growth and enhancement of agriculture sector as a whole. And lastly, we are looking at research and innovation. So this will put your brain to work to think actively of solutions that you can also create to make a change in agriculture. So we have the training mode, which is online/virtual classes. This is what we are currently doing. This is the virtual section. So After the virtual section will be ending on August 21st or 21st of August. So that's the last day for the program of on virtual, anything we're doing virtually. So then we'll then transit into the physical on-site training. It's also going to be happening for 1 week within the course of in different selected institutions from FUNAB to River State University to Futmina in Niger State. So we are going to run them one week in each of these schools for the eligible candidate or certificate candidates. So we are also encouraging you that do well to put your best foot forward, ensure you attend the class, submit your attendance. All of these things are part of the criteria we are going to still use to select, because it's highly competitive in all of these institutions. We only want to select about 95, or that should be less than 100, or at most 100. So for you to be able to get involved and be shortlisted, you have to meet the required criteria. So this section is focused on this training: GIS, remote sensing data science, artificial intelligence, robotics and internet of things, and lastly is personal and enterprise development for high-tech innovators. So without wasting much of our time, I quickly want to bring up our speaker while I read through his profile. So today, like I mentioned, we are discussing becoming a certified drone professional, and we have an expert who is going to be taking us through this. So the person we have today is known as Mr. Tawanda Chiambakwe. He is the CEO of Precision Aerial Group, a drone technology company based in Zimbabwe, and also rendering services within the Southern African landscape. So today, let me just quickly read through his profile. Tawanda Chiambakwe is the CEO of Precision Aerial Group and a leading voice in the African drone industry. With over 8 years experience, he pioneered Zimbabwe Forest Civil Aviation Authority certified drone service provider for precision agriculture and disaster risk reduction. In 2021, he founded Precision Drone Training School, now Southern African leading drone training institution. A certified drone pilot, instructor and examiner with multi-rotor fixed wing and BVLOS, that's beyond visual line of sight, and RMT ratings. Is licensed in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. Tawanda has consulted for governments, organizations, and companies on designing and integrating drone programs into their workflow. He is the founder of he is the managing director at Zimbabwe Flying Labs and a curator of the Zimbabwe International Drone Conference. He is an international speaker, a STEM advocate, and Amazon bestseller author on drone technology. Alright, so join me as I bring him up to the stage to listen. Hello, good morning, sir. Mr. Tawanda, can you hear me? Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good morning. I can hear you, sir. You are audible. You have the floor now, sir, so you can do well to present your. Or if you want to share your screen or sharing your slide, then so you can click on.
to like the line of that's what they can do. If I want to do it, to be together, what's going to be over the road, like pick out the exam.
Okay, sir, Mr. Tawanda, you have the floor now, so we are waiting for you that to share your screen now. So, all right.
Please confirm that you can hear me. I'm not sure if you guys can.
Yes, I can hear you. You are very audible.
Okay. All right. So if you can hear me, that's okay. On my computer here is not connecting for some reason, but I do have a presentation for you, which I will share with you now. And then you can follow with me as I take you through this presentation. Okay, all right. I think it should be loading now. While my presentation is uploading, I just want to start by thanking the organizers for this invitation to come and just share on first of all, my personal journey in the drone industry, but also just in terms of what it takes to become a certified drone professional. The drone industry, as you all know, is growing in leaps and bounds, and there's a lot of interest within the drone industry. But how do you maximize on the value that comes from the industry? We're going to go through the presentation now, and I'll take you through part of what my journey has been and part of the work that we're doing as a company and as an organization. All right. So I think my presentation should be visible to everyone. If not, you can always just let me know. But let's get started. What is a professional? I think for us to define what is a certified drone professional, we must first define what is a professional to start off with. A professional is really a person or a member of a profession or any person who works in a specified professional activity. Okay, so you have many different professions. You can be a doctor, you can be an engineer. In this case, what we're saying here also is we are wanting to describe what are the standards of education and training that are required to prepare you, if you're looking to become a certified drone professional, to prepare you to become a member of this profession with the specific knowledge and skills necessary to perform a specific role within that profession. Okay, so within the profession of becoming or being a drone professional, there are a lot of different roles that you can play. There are a lot of different titles that you can have. And you would have heard in my profile, I'm an instructor, but I'm also a pilot. I'm also an examiner. And I'll take you through what all those different things mean. So I think let's just lay the groundwork. That is what a professional is. It's really a member or a person who works within a specified professional activity or industry. Many of you may already be in another profession, and you're looking at getting into the profession of being a drone operator or within the drone industry. And ultimately, it means you're joining the aviation industry in itself. And we're going to look at what those things entail. So a bit of my background. I won't take too long in talking about this because I think the host did well just to talk about my profile. But just to give you a little bit more background, right now, when it comes to the drone profession, I am, first of all, a student, like many of you might be. In other words, I am still learning about this industry and about how drones work. The drone industry itself has really been in existence for just over a decade. Only the last 10 to 15 years has the commercial drone industry or civilian drone industry been in existence. So there's still a lot to learn and it's still growing. So I'm a student first, okay? So I'm still learning. At the same time, I'm also a drone pilot. I was one of the first drone pilots in my country. And then I got training and certification in South Africa. And I then quickly became also an instructor. So I'm a drone pilot. So I operate the drones. I'm an instructor. So I teach and I train other pilots. And then as of last year, end of last year, I was certified by the Civil Aviation Authority in my country, and I'm now a designated examiner. So I also work on behalf of the Civil Aviation Authority to examine students as well as to examine instructors in my personal capacity. So that's just a little bit of an overview in terms of some of the roles I play as a professional in the drone industry. Okay. I won't talk too much about everything else, just to say, look, I've been in the industry for a short amount of time. And my journey really started here back in 2016. So I'm going on now 9 years in the industry. I was involved in the early stages of the development of the industry in my country. 2016 is when I got involved. And in 2018 is when our country officially had regulations around the use of drones. And that set the framework even for professionals to exist in the industry. So my story really starts here. And I'll take you through all the different things that I've had to go through in terms of training to then become a professional and to then have our business that runs today. Part of my work as well, I've worked in a lot of different countries on the continent of Africa. We've worked in Kenya, we've worked in South Africa and Zambia, and obviously here in Zimbabwe is our base. And here, this was in Nairobi in Kenya in June 2021, where we were doing a benchmarking exercise with some of the training schools there in Kenya, as well as with the Kenyan Civil Aviation Authority, who you can see there in that picture next to me. You can see that was still around COVID times because we're still wearing masks and all of that. All right. So part of our work as well as benchmarking is going around to different schools in different countries to see what are their training standards like. And then what we do is we come back and we make sure our training standards are better than what is currently available on the market. And that's really how we've kind of grown as an organization. Right. Part of my work as well, as was mentioned, I'm an international speaker. And I'll make mention of this particularly because we're talking to agricultural professionals or people who are looking at becoming professionals in the agriculture space. Our work has been featured by the United Nations FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. And the first feature was really here at the first Global Agricultural Mechanization Conference, where we presented our work using drones for agriculture at the inaugural conference on mechanization. So we presented also a paper which has been adopted as well by the FAO. We also presented our training programs in agriculture, which I'm also going to talk about in this presentation, which have now been endorsed by the FAO as being a good tool to prepare people who want to use drones for agriculture. Moving right along. I'm trying to see here. For some reason, I can't move past this slide. Okay, I'm going to just have to try and reload this. My apologies, my presentation is just stopping at that slide. I just need to probably reset it here. Okay, please just give me a moment. Right here. Okay. All right. So I'm just having to reload my presentation here. For some reason, it didn't save correctly. But if you just give me a moment, I'll be able to reload it and then we can continue. Okay, while I'm doing that, maybe what I can also do is tell you a little bit more about the actual, how we came about setting up the training school. So I mentioned already that our regulations were established in Zimbabwe by the Civil Aviation Authority. And I know that regardless of which country you're in right now, I know many of you are in Nigeria, the Civil Aviation Authority is the one that regulates the entire industry because it falls under aviation. So in that regard, what you need first is a framework. In other words, you need regulations in place for you to then establish what we would call the rules of the game. Okay. Without the rules of the game, it then becomes difficult because there are no standards. And you heard when I gave the definition of the word professional, right? Is there's a requirement for there to be standards. Okay, and those standards need to be set out. Normally, they're set out, and they should be set out by the Civil Aviation Authority in your country. Okay, once that's in place, and once you've got the regulations set up, that then gives the room and the space for when we say we've got training programs, right, and we're providing training. By which standard are you providing that training on? So that training is established by the Civil Aviation or by each country. And then each country then would say, right, for us to define someone who's a pilot, then there's a standard that's there. So that's how it starts from the civil aviation side of things. Then within the regulations, there is then the specification around the need for pilots to be trained or training to take place. For us to then say whoever is going to operate a drone needs to then go through this specific training and certification. Okay. So from country to country, each civil aviation authority will have slightly different rules, but generally they follow the same sort of framework when it comes to how pilots are meant to get trained. And we'll look at that. So one of the things that you want to do, regardless of which country you're in, whether you're in Africa or wherever you are in the world, is you want to get in touch with the Civil Aviation Authority or any body that is responsible for regulating civil aviation or civil aviation in your country and find out about the rules and regulations. In some places, you can find that information easily available online. In other spaces, you might need to actually reach out to the Civil Aviation Authority and then get an understanding of, okay, if I want to operate as a professional in this space, okay, what are the rules around that? What are the standards expected of me that I must follow or that I must meet? And I'll go through, once I've uploaded my presentation again here, I'll go through some of those things that are standard and that are generally required and requested of people who want to pursue this. One of the things that I'll mention, and this might also apply to you in your country, is the minimum age. If you want to become a certified professional, first things first is there's a minimum age through which you're allowed to then sit for training to obtain a license. Okay. In our country here, where I'm based, and for most of Southern Africa, I would say almost all of Southern Africa, and I'm pretty sure East Africa is the same, you have to be at least 18 years old. Okay. And I'm sure most of you are at least 18 years of age. If not, then you have to wait until you're 18 to do that. So 18 is a minimum as a starting point. And then from that perspective going forward, then you are able to sit for this training to obtain a license. Right. So with that said, I was just re-uploading my presentation here. For some reason, it wasn't working very well. But I think we should be able to get back on track. It's re-uploading now. My sincere apologies for that. And I think we should be able to continue from this point. All right, I'm just uploading it now. And yeah, thank you for joining us. For those of you who've just joined and who've just logged on, thank you for joining us on this platform. I think we should be able to proceed now. Okay. Okay, I'm just loading now, and then we can continue. Right, so as just finalizing uploading, I will then continue from there, from that point. I think we should be good to go now. Just one moment. Okay, I think what I'm going to have to do here, oh, there we go. I think we're good now. All right. There we go. There we go. Okay, I think we're good to go. Right, so now we can continue. So just to make up on the time, I'm just going to go through the introduction of our company very quickly. Probably not a lot, actually. You can always look it up online. But I represent an organization called Precision Aerial Group. We have a number of different organizations or companies under that group. Precision Aerial is our drone operator. So we provide services through Precision Aerial, drone services, that is. Precision Drone Training is the newest baby in our group. It's only been running for about 4 years now. The other companies in the group have been around for longer than the training school. Training schools where we provide different training programs from your certified training programs through the Civil Aviation Authority to advanced industry-specific training, which we'll talk about. Then we have Zimbabwe Flying Labs, which I'll mention later, and then we have Zimbabwe International Drone Conference. So Zimbabwe Flying Labs is, I would say, our education and innovation hub, where we're actually looking at and working on developing new models, new use cases for drones, where we do a lot of our testing, our research and development on different uses of technology, drones being the main thing, but we also work within the space of robotics and data science for automation. Okay, then the training school, and then obviously our conference, which I'll mention as well later. Right, moving right along. When it comes to our services, so Precision Aerial, our operator, we provide drone services in different industries. Agriculture is our main line, so it's the main area or main industry that we provide services for. And we provide a number of different services, including aerial mapping, as well as your aerial spraying. So we have different types of drones that we have in our fleet that we use for that. And these services, a lot of them are around things like data capturing, data processing, analysis, and then we use that to do predictive analysis for precision smart farming. I think the entire course that you guys are undertaking will really dive deep into the different use cases for drones for agriculture, and a lot of it will be centered around the mapping work involved in that. So we do a lot of that as well and provide those services to both smallholder and large commercial farmers. We also provide drone security services. So security services using a different type of drone, not just for agricultural use, but just for general security services. So high value properties or high value clients and that kind of thing. We provide services for that as well. Then a big area of ours as well that we've really developed through our R&D division is we provide drone light shows. This is more on the entertainment and marketing side of things, where we have done 3 drone light shows in Zimbabwe, and essentially the 3 biggest drone light shows that have ever taken place in Southern Africa. The entire Southern Africa region have all been done in Zimbabwe and have all been done through our company, Precision Aerial. So we had a big drone light show that took place at Victoria Falls, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world, which is here in Zimbabwe. We had 500 drones, 500 drone light show that we did. And the science behind drone light shows is quite interesting, and it's something you should look up. You can go to our YouTube channel to see the video and how we did that. But you can imagine having 500 drones in the air, making all sorts of different images and patterns, as you can see there. Those are pictures there you can see of the light show that we did, showing the different animals. You can see the continent of Africa. You can see the shape of our country. There's Zimbabwe. And then it says, "They're welcome to Zimbabwe," and you see all those different animals. All that made with different drones in the air. It's a very spectacular and amazing experience, but a lot of work to also do that. That's part of what we do. So we've done quite a few of these drone light shows, as I've mentioned already. We did the first one in our country back in 2023. And then since then, we've been able to do another 2 since then. And there's a lot of machine learning and AI involved in this, beyond just obviously having these multiple drones operating in the air. Okay, I'll move quickly beyond that. As I mentioned, Zimbabwe Flying Labs is our research and development division, as well as our education division. So within Zimbabwe Flying Labs is actually a technology hub. where we are interconnected with other hubs in about 45 countries around the world. The Flying Labs brand is well known within the drone space, and we basically are the hosts of the Zimbabwe chapter of the Flying Labs hub. I know that in your different countries, especially if you're in Africa, you will most likely have a flying lab or flying labs within your country, and you can look them up. If you just go online and search your country name plus the word Flying Labs at the end, you should be able to find more information about where you can connect with the Flying Labs. So within Flying Labs, we are in 45 countries around the world, as I mentioned, and part of our work within the Zimbabwe hub is we focus on STEM education. So we have worked in partnership with Precision Aerial as well as Flying Labs. We've put together an education program that is targeted at young learners in schools. And we're targeting young learners from as young as 7 years old all the way through to maybe 16, 17 years old. Those who don't qualify for a drone pilot license are the ones we target, and we train them on how to use emerging technologies from drones to robotics to data science to artificial intelligence. We do this through technology clubs, we have camps, we have workshops that we do, and we have technology competitions for the young learners. Right now, as I'm speaking, we have a technology camp running because it's the school holidays and the kids are not in school. So there's a technology camp running right now as we speak within our office grounds where we've got a number of children who are actually attending a camp and learning about technology. So what we're really doing is we are promoting and pushing the next generation and teaching them about the future of work. Moving right along, the focus of our discussion, our topic and our talk today will be really about the training school and about training. Precision Drone Training is a certified Civil Aviation Authority of Zimbabwe certified training school. It's also certified by the internationally accredited rather, by the Flying Labs Network. We have different programs. So we offer programs that are certified by the Civil Aviation Authority. We also offer advanced programs that are that we have through our affiliation with the Flying Labs. These are more specialized industry-specific training programs like medical drone delivery training programs, cargo drone delivery programs, agriculture programs, all of that certified through the Flying Labs Network. Okay. Our goal as a training school, this is our mission, is to train professionals or training professionals for the future of work. That is really our mission. That's why we exist. And whenever we start our training, we always say to anyone who has never held an aviation license before, we always say, welcome to the wonderful world of aviation, because ultimately that is the industry you're entering. We offer remote pilot training, and this is standardized and advanced training. So we can train anyone who is willing to learn. We focus on giving knowledge and skills and developing someone who has an understanding of not just the regulations, but has ethics, an ethical approach to how they operate drones. Are you doing it with consent, with permission? Are you operating your drones in a space where you've actually been granted the authority to do so? What are you doing with the data and information that you're capturing with your drone? We emphasize a lot on that within our training programs, amongst many other things like safety management and how to maintain your drones and how to operate drones for your specific sector or industry. Within the drone industry, I want to start off with this part here, where we're talking about the different jobs in the industry. It's not just a drone pilot that is trained. So a drone professional is not just a person who's a drone pilot. I mean, you can be, and that is one of the things that everyone sees. But we also have people in the drone industry who are data processing specialists. So people who specialize in processing and analyzing the data that is gathered by drones. You have data analysts. So people who are drone data analysts, people who focus on analyzing the data that is captured by drones. Then you have repair and maintenance technicians, people who are trained on how to repair and maintain drones. Drones come in all different shapes, forms, and sizes. So you can imagine, particularly even for agriculture, which is what we're talking about, is you have, within agriculture, you have some of the biggest, largest size drones that you can get as a civilian. And that requires also someone or people to be trained on how to maintain them. We have drone software developers. If you're interested at all in software and designing and developing software, there's quite a big opportunity here when it comes to drone software development. There isn't enough software being developed. particularly localized software that is for the African continent. A lot of the software used by drones, not just the software to operate the drone, but the software that integrates your operations management, your logging of flights, all of that. There's very little happening that's been developed by Africans, and we need to focus more on developing software. Then drone hardware manufacturing. Some of you may or may not know people who actually are building drones from scratch or using different materials, 3D printers or other materials, or modifying drones. That's a job in itself as well. So that could be classified also as engineering to some extent as well, in terms of people who manufacture drones. Then you have drone educators and consultants. So part of my work falls under that as an educator and a consultant, but that's very different to the training, which is the last one. Drone training means you're actually certified to train other people. So these are also some of the jobs. You also get other jobs as well that are in the drone industry that are not listed here as well. And it's not exhaustive to say this is all that you can do, but this is just to mention some of the opportunities that exist for people who are looking to become professional in this space. Now let's delve into it. When it comes to becoming a professional, some of the things that we look at in terms of the pathway and the journey include undergoing specialized training or specific training where you actually sit for a course and you're certified, and you have to prove and show through some form of examination process that you're actually competent in terms of either operating drones or teaching others or maintaining or fixing drones. So this is a general pathway, and please note this is general. This is for someone who wants to become an operator or someone who operates drones. So this is your pilot, right? So a pilot would follow this path. If you are someone who wants to be someone who repairs drones, for example, a repair and maintenance technician, or what we call RMT, then your path would be slightly different. Where we're saying remote pilot license, you would then start off with the actual maintenance course. You wouldn't start off with the pilot course, okay? But after that, it then follows the same. So we start off with stage number 1. So this is someone who wants to become a pilot. So you want to become a pilot, you would then enroll in the standard remote pilot license course that each country that has regulations would have and would issue you with this license. This course and program varies in terms of length. Depending on the country, it can go from between 2 weeks all the way through to 6 weeks or 8 weeks, depending on the country, okay? But generally, especially countries in Africa, 2 weeks is the minimum. You're not gonna get it quicker than that. And I also wouldn't want you to get it quicker than that. It takes a bit of time for you to assimilate the theoretical knowledge and also get the practical flight training knowledge. So 2 to 6 to 8 weeks is what you want to budget for that. Then you would move on to stage 2, which is advanced industry specific training. So you would then select and say, right, I want to operate drones in this industry. The first remote pilot license course is a general course. The level 1 course is general. It applies to everyone and anyone, regardless of the industry. Then you move on to stage 2, which is advanced industry specific. So you pick your sector. I want to use drones for agriculture. So you then take on a course for drones for agriculture. After that, you can move to stage 3, where if you want to, you would then need to get your different ratings, okay? So if necessary and if need be, you can operate as a professional and just go stage 1, stage 2, right? And stop there, depending on your operations and the type of operations that you want to do, okay? And please note, this is very specific to the type of operation that you intend on doing, okay? There's a difference between someone who's going to be operating drones in agriculture for spraying, right? Or the drone used for spraying, and the drone that's used for mapping, okay? If you're going to be doing mapping, for example, in other words, using a drone to capture data, to be able to tell the health of plants, to be able to measure boundaries and land and all that kind of thing, you definitely will need what's known as a BVLOS rating, okay? Or beyond visual line of sight rating. And I'll speak to more about that a little bit later, okay? So the type of operations you do will determine or you intend on doing will determine the level that you need to get to. At level 3 there, we also have fixed wing rating. Fixed wing is a type of aircraft, a type of drone, different to the standard drones that are used for agriculture. You also then have instructor rating. So as I mentioned already, I also have my instructor rating. So I am certified to instruct others. Then level 4, which is CPD, where you earn your CPD points and you do continuous professional development, which then leads you to being a certified professional in itself. Okay, all right. Now, when we look at training, and I just want to say this at this point. Please do save your questions or write them down if you do have questions. At the end of my presentation, I'll then open up the floor and allow you guys to ask any questions you might have. Okay. When we look at types of training, there are 3 main types of training that you can undertake as a person seeking to become a professional in this industry. You have what's known as regulatory compliance. In other words, the minimum standards required by your local civil aviation to allow you to operate drones. Okay. Those include your remote pilot license, also known as the RPL, or it might be RPC, depending on which country you're in. Then you have BVLOS or BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight. This is also a requirement by your local civil aviation authority. And then you can also have your fixed wing rating as well. Then we have what we call operational training. So you've gotten your license, yes. Having a license certified by the Civil Aviation Authority in your country does not mean that you will know how to operate drones for agriculture, okay? Because the type of drone used for agriculture is not the type of drone that you're going to be used to get your initial license. So you must undertake and you must enroll in an industry-specific training course if you're intending on using drones for agriculture or any other industry. So that's operational training, to say, right, now I've got my license, yes, but now I need to learn about the industry that I want to operate in. Okay, and I know Precision Field Academy, their entire course and program really focuses on giving this operational training and industry-specific training so that you can really gain value and maximize on the information that you would have gained and the knowledge that you'll have acquired. Then we have type 3, which is type-specific training. This is now aircraft specific. So now there's specialized training on types of aircraft that are specialized. So I'll show you in my presentation one of the aircraft that we have what we call type specific training on, where you now need to learn about the actual aircraft itself. Yes, you have the operational training. Yes, you have your license, but now you need training on a particular type of aircraft because it's specialized or highly specialized. Okay. And has special functions and features on it. And you want to get the training so that you know how to use it correctly. So remote pilot license, I'm going to go through this very quickly, also for the sake of time. I'm very aware also of our time, and I don't want to take too long on this, but we'll go through quickly what are the requirements for someone who's starting off at level 1, okay, the remote pilot license. So remote pilot license, just as an overview, they're prerequisites. And these are general prerequisites. They might differ slightly from country to country, but I've just included the things that I know are general from all the countries that I've done work with and worked in. Minimum age 18 years old, I mentioned that already. You also need to prove language proficiency, and English proficiency English language proficiency is critical and required. Why? Because English is the language of aviation the world over. It does not matter which country you're in. If you're learning aviation and becoming a pilot of any sort, English is important and it's a requirement because you need to be able to communicate in the same language with other pilots, other professionals, other people within your industry in different countries, okay, from across the world. So English is a requirement. Then you will need a medical certificate of some sort. In our country, it's a class 4 medical. There are different classes of medical certificates, but a medical certificate is a medical certificate of fitness to confirm that you are healthy and able-bodied to be able to actually undertake the training course. You need these 3 things. You need to be 18. You need to have a language proficiency. In other words, some sort of certificate from school. Minimum O-level. We have what's called the ordinary level here in Zimbabwe. Depending on your education system, it might be a little bit different from country to country. Normally, you sit for that O-level certificate at age 15 or 16. Maybe in some cases it could be 7, but essentially you would have already obtained this language proficiency before you turn 18 anyway, okay, in general. This is just general, okay. Then you do the medical certificate. The medical certificate can be done normally with any general practitioner or doctor. In some countries, you might have to go to an aviation doctor, a specialized doctor for aviation. But generally, you just need to have that certificate. Then training for us here at our training school in our country, training then runs, theory training is 4 days of theoretical training, followed by 1 day theoretical exam. Then the following week, you then do practical training, 4 days of practical training, followed by a mock skills test. And then finally, you have your skills test or sign out done by a Civil Aviation Authority examiner. So ultimately, that will take about 2 weeks. Okay. Right. Here are just some pictures of theory training at our training offices of people undergoing training, theory training with our instructors, and going through all the different paces in terms of what they would need to do. So you literally sit in class, you will have training material, a manual that you follow, and then you'll be taken through different courses. You do different coursework. And some of the core theory course modules that we teach include, but are not limited to, things like air law and regulations, aerodynamics, navigation, meteorology, human factors. And most of these modules are taken directly from the aviation courses of what we call manned aviation pilots. The pilots that fly your Airbuses or Boeing 747s and 37s and 777s, those who fly the passenger carrying planes, we actually learn or teach rather similar training modules. So for example, aerodynamics and navigation in MET, you're learning exactly the same as if you were going to go and fly a plane with passengers in it, okay? The difference is that there's certain elements that are removed so that it's not as intense because we're learning how to fly remotely piloted aircraft. But ultimately, you are being trained to be a pilot. So there are things that are similar and that would follow in that regard. Some of the things we teach as well in theory is we do a lot of emphasis on rules and regulations, and that cover things like legal responsibility of the person who's going to operate the actual drone. There are legal responsibilities in the event of things going wrong, whether it's an accident or an incident. You have to be a responsible person and you have to be 18. So 18 allows it so that you can be prosecuted. You can go to jail. You can be held accountable for anything that happens when you're flying that drone, okay, right? So you have a legal responsibility when you undertake to become a drone operator or a drone professional. Then the other things we teach about things like line of sight, how far you can fly, the limitations of where you can fly, and things like that. How high you can fly, there are limits to what you can fly in terms of general aviation when you're flying from a day-to-day. We call those height and BV loss restrictions. And we teach also about the type of operations, right? The most common one is visual line of sight, which has a limitation of about 500 meters in terms of how far you can fly the drone. Then we have things like extended visual line of sight, restricted visual line of sight, and then beyond visual line of sight. So all of these are different types of operations, and we teach students within the training course to understand what type of drone operation or mission are you going to undertake before you embark on it, okay? So before you go out, you've got to then calculate, plan, do what we call flight planning, and learn to do all the necessary work to determine what you need to do in the field so that you ensure the success of your flight mission. There's no use in just saying, I've got a drone, let me get up and go and fly, without doing your flight planning, without learning about weather restrictions and saying, okay, understanding how to read the weather in an aviation sense, understanding the conditions that would ensure that you're successful in your flight mission, okay? So this is what you would teach, this is what you would learn, and this is what we would teach you in the program. So there's a number of different things. I won't go through everything here. We also teach about airspaces, where to fly, where not to fly, restricted areas, prohibited, danger areas, classes of airspace, controlled airspace, how to maneuver your drone in an area where there are other aircraft operating in the space. So this is what we would teach as well within the course. We also do basics in terms of maintenance and how to maintain your aircraft, just general, how to take care of your batteries to ensure the longevity of your equipment. We teach, as I mentioned already, weather conditions, how to read aviation weather reports, like a pilot. We also teach about risk assessment and how to ensure that you do risk mitigation. Look out for things like hazards when you go out. Hazards can be trees, power lines, people, animals, objects, anything like that, right? So we teach about how to ensure that you plan accordingly. We also teach about flight logging. So this is all part of your level 1. This is all level 1 within the level 1 course, the remote pilot license. How to log your flights, how to determine and keep a record. And it's very important for a drone professional to maintain records of every flight that they undertake. I often say this to the classes that we teach, is that the drone logbook is your personal CV or resume, right? Whenever you're looking, maybe you want to apply for a job, or you want to pitch for a grant or some sort of project funding, right? Your experience doesn't show up in how long you've been in the industry. You heard in my profile, yes, I've been in the industry for since 2016, but how many of those years, those 9 years that I've been in the industry, how many hours have I accumulated of actual flight time? That's what is considered as experience, not the 9 years. So the number of hours, if you saw, and I didn't really focus on it, but if you saw my profile, I put there the number of hours that I've actually accumulated as a pilot. That is what has value, not the number of years that I say I've worked in it. And that's how aviation works, okay? Any aviation pilot, whether they're flying a 777 aircraft or whatever it is, seniority, a person who's a junior pilot and a senior pilot, is determined by the number of hours that they have recorded as having flown, okay? So your logbook is really, really critical and really, really important for anyone who is a professional and a pilot. You need to obviously make sure you have a smart way to do it. And there are applications and automated systems that connect to your aircraft's flight logging system, which can then move those flight hours directly into your record keeping. And we teach about the different software available to do your flight logging so that you can maintain your flight hours. Okay. We also have a strong emphasis on safety culture in ensuring that all your operations are done and conducted in a safe manner. So we teach and train on that and all the different things that you need to make sure that you conduct your operations safely. And here are just a couple of photos from our recent practical training programs that we have at our training field. So we have a training field at our farm where we do the practical training, and it's an open space, it's safe, it allows pilots who are in training to fly as far as they need to and to learn. So this is how we conduct our remote pilot license level 1 practical training. We then also conduct what is called a letter of recommendation or a skills test. The letter of recommendation is essentially a mock test, and this is a test done by the senior instructor who tests the students to check that they are ready to take their final flight exam. And the final flight exam is normally done by the Civil Aviation Authority examiner. And then once that's done and you're successful, then you can be like this group of guys who are smiling and happy because they've been certified as drone pilots, okay? And that's essentially how the process goes for anyone who's looking to become a drone pilot as you start your journey to become a professional. Now what I'm going to do is just take you through quickly some of the other training courses and the process to obtain the license in some of those other courses. And then we'll come back and look at agriculture in particular and focus on that. And then we'll close off with what I call continuous professional development. Okay. So organizers, just if you'll bear with me, I think I'll need another maybe 10 minutes. I know we are almost a little bit over time, but I will still allow time for questions as well. So let's move on. We've looked at level 1, the remote pilot license. Now what I want to show you is the rating. This is called the fixed wing rating. This is for a specific type of aircraft known as a fixed wing. And the course content, for you to undertake this, you must have a valid remote pilot license. In other words, you can only take this course once you've done level 1. And you must prove by show of a license that you've got the license for level 1 for you to then undertake this fixed wing training course, right? This fixed wing training course is slightly different. in that you spend a lot more time doing what's known as simulator training or computer-based training. So you do simulator training. So you do theory, but then you spend time on a simulator, like these guys here, for example. So they spend quite a lot of time on the computer simulator, learning about how to operate this fixed wing type of aircraft before they can actually go into the practical training of that in the training field. And then ultimately here, this is what the fixed wing aircraft looks like. You can see the size of it. You can see how many people it's taking to actually carry this aircraft. But this one is used for specialized type of operations. It's a drone and it's a big one. And before you can allow people to even start, practicing flying this one, they need to have passed and done well on the simulator. Otherwise, they're going to crash a very expensive drone and it's not going to work. So this is how we do our fixed wing training to help people to obtain their fixed wing rating. We then also have what's known as beyond visual line of sight rating, which is basically training certified pilots on how to operate drones beyond their visual line of sight. In other words, beyond where they can see with their physical or naked eye. Okay, so BVLOS training. This training as well, you are required to have a level 1 license as a minimum. If you don't have a level 1 license, you can't undertake this to get this rating. Okay, this one also has a little bit of simulator training as well involved in it. And then it has practical training as well. Once you've done that, the BVLOS training is a little bit shorter. I forgot to mention on the fixed wing training takes a long time because of the simulator training and the practical flight training. So your fixed wing training can take up to 6 weeks on its own. BVLOS training can take maybe another week or 2 weeks, okay, depending on where you do your training. Then we have type-specific training, and I'll mention this because type-specific training is training on a specific type of aircraft. And the examples here, on the left, you have this one that's written the DJI Phantom 4. This is the approved model for training for new students, people who are learning how to fly drones for the first time. You normally train on an aircraft that looks like this one, okay, to obtain your level 1 license. But this drone and how it operates and the way the one on the right, the DJI Matrice 30T operates is very different, okay? So you need the training on the type of drone that you're going to be operating, okay? That's what we call type-specific training. Similar to this in fixed wing, when I mentioned the fixed wing training, once you've done your simulator, you will then go and train using an aircraft that looks like the Discovery T here, Discovery ST. This one looks like a model aircraft, but this is actually what's used for training pilots on how to operate a fixed wing aircraft. This one is quite different to the Foxtech that you see on the right here. Okay, the Foxtech on the right here is that big one that you saw those guys carrying and holding, right? This one now requires specialized type-specific training on the actual aircraft and how it operates. Okay, so those are the differences in terms of training. We also provide what's known as the instructor's course, so remote pilot aircraft systems instructor's course for those looking to become instructors. This training process is a little bit longer. You definitely have to be a holder of a level 1 as well as a level 2 and level 3 license for you to then do your instructor's course. And you also have to have gained some experience actually working in the field for you to then sit for an instructor training course. Okay, and this is just an overview of some of the things we teach. We call this Train the Trainer. So it's more of a Train the Trainer course, and we teach you how to become an instructor. Then we have our advanced industry-specific training courses, which are now industry-specific. One of them, which we're going to look at now, is your Drones for Agriculture course, which is a course designed specifically to train people who are looking at using drones for agriculture. Within the agriculture division and space, our advanced course covers both your aerial mapping data processing type of drones as well as your crop spraying courses. Right? We provide smart crop spraying services as a company, and we use different types of drones. Right now, we're using this model of drone. We're very versatile in terms of the type of drone that we use. We don't focus on just one type. A lot of people want to focus on one brand of drone. but there's so many different drones that are able to do and execute the work well. So you should also try to gain a little bit of experience on different types of models as well. So within crop spraying, you can see here on our farm and at different farms, we provide the spraying services. But to undertake that, there are different things that you need to learn. And I know at Precision Field Academy, they will be teaching you more in detail and showing you more about this within this course as well. So within the crop spraying space, there are different use cases: pesticide spraying, fertilizer spreading, weed control, pest control, irrigation planning, crop spraying, malaria control, amongst many other things as well. Okay. We also have photogrammetry with drones, which is the aerial mapping side of things. And we're looking at agriculture. We'll then teach things like what is a drone survey and how do you actually use a drone and the camera sensor there to gather the data and information. What do we then do with the data? You then learn about drone data in itself and using things like predictive analysis through machine learning to determine the health of crops, to determine the yields and predict the type of yield, to determine any sort of issues, whether it's pest, disease, to catch those things early and inform and support the farmers with data-driven decision-making. That is precision agriculture, and that is precision smart farming. For us in our courses, when we look at photogrammetry for drone mapping, we cover the different use cases, and we teach about the effectiveness of using drones for mapping and the accuracy that we can get versus things like satellites and using other means. We teach about different sensors, things like the new DJI Mavic 4 and other sensors as well that are used. We teach also about things like your multispectral sensors, the very basic from the earliest ones, which are like these ones, the Parrot Sequoia, to the more modern ones that you find now that come on a fixed payload, like your Mavic 3 multispectral aircraft. Okay. We then teach about how to do your planning for your mapping. If you're going to map out a farm and oversee your crops and gather information, how then do you do it? What is the ground sampling distance? What is the GSD? And I know that you'll have a different module and course and someone who will come and teach you in detail about all of this. We also teach about software. For you to be a professional, you can see there's a lot that's involved in it. It's not just learning about how to, fly a drone from point A to point B. You have to learn about software. You have to learn about processing. You have to learn about data. You have to learn about, all sorts of different things as well for you to then be able to be a professional within this space. So we teach also things like software, so flight planning software as well. And we teach all these different things within our course and within our training program. So as I wrap up my presentation, what I want to do is just focus on continuous professional development. And I want to remind you, if you do have any questions at the end, please get those questions ready. When it comes to continuous professional development, our level 4, there are a number of things that I always encourage students and drone pilots alike, is that these are the things that you need for you to continue to grow as a professional within this industry. Number 1, take additional courses and ratings to advance your skills. One of the worst things you can do is stop at level 1. Don't just get your remote pilot license and stop there. Pick an industry, go and focus, take an advanced course, get a rating, grow in your skills, grow in your understanding, learn how to operate different types of drones. Not all drones are the same. If you're proficient in one, it doesn't mean you're good in the next one. You might be clueless in the next one, right? Or in a different type. Number 2, read books and sign up for industry newsletters. I'll show you just now some of the newsletters that we put out and that we follow as well. Read books, okay? I am I am an author myself, and I've been privileged to have been an early mover in this space. And I've got a lot of people that I know who are doing really, really well in the drone space on the continent of Africa. People who are pioneering, who are doing things that you would only probably see in first world countries, but they're being done right here in Africa. Africa has probably been one of the greatest test beds for this technology, okay? It's not something that we're seeing developing as rapidly in other countries, but here, the demand for it has been great. And you can read books to find out more about this. I've co-authored 2 books Drone Professional 1, Drone Professional 2 that are available on Amazon. I'll show you the copies of the books right now. Those are good books to get. Also, subscribe to YouTube channels of drone influencers to find out who's doing what in the drone space. I have a YouTube channel that you can also subscribe to find out more information about what we do and follow our work. Attend conferences, workshops, and webinars. The very fact that you are actually on this webinar today, this masterclass, shows that you have an interest, shows that you are doing the right things, taking the right steps towards becoming a professional or advancing in your career as a professional. Continue to do that. Try to attend conferences in person if you can, if they're available. I know there are conferences available in many countries across the continent. If it costs you money, it's money worth investing in to go and attend and meet other professionals within the space. Attend workshops, join drone pilot networks and forums. I know with Precision Field Academy, they will put you in groups, whether it's on WhatsApp or whatever platform. Make sure you're on those forums. Make sure you're asking questions, right? Be on those spaces. Follow industry leaders on social media. LinkedIn is a good platform. LinkedIn is a great platform. I know we'll probably be streaming right now on LinkedIn as well. It's a great platform for anyone who wants to connect with other people within the space. Then lastly, the one that I would emphasize the most is practice, practice, practice. I put it there 3 times because the emphasis is needed. You need to practice, right? One of the worst things that I've seen over the years is people will come and get their drone pilot license, level 1 or level 2, whatever it is. And then they won't fly for 6 months, maybe because they don't have access to a drone, right? One of the things with this profession is it's a use it or lose it skill, particularly if you want to be a pilot, and particularly if you want to be someone who's doing maintenance or that kind of thing. If you're not doing it consistently or often enough, you will forget how to do things properly. In the end, your skill level and your approach no longer can be deemed as professional. You then become someone who is just trying to figure things out and doesn't really know what they're doing because you haven't practiced doing it properly enough. So please try by all means to talk to anyone who's connected to you to get as much time, stick time, we call it stick time. So in other words, enough time with you controlling the sticks if you're learning to be a drone pilot, okay? You need to be flying. We recommend a minimum of 1 hour, minimum, not to say this is the best, minimum of 1 hour every 30 days. 1 hour per month, minimum in terms of flying. It'd be great if you can do 1 hour a week, that would be great. But if you can't and you don't have access to a drone for whatever reason, try to do at least 1 hour every month, okay? These are the books I mentioned, available on Amazon. You can Google them right now. Just go on Amazon and look them up. I think they're going for about $5 or $10 US or something like that. You can get a copy and read through those books. I think now there's Drone Professional 1, 2, 3, and 4. The founder of Precision Field Academy, I think Femi, he's a co-author on one of the books. I think he's a co-author of Drone Professional 3 or 4, one of those. So you should also get a copy of that book as well. Then drone conferences. These are just logos of some of the conferences that are worth attending around the world. Obviously, I put our local one in Zimbabwe, and you're all invited to come to our next conference when we host it. We'd love to host you. The thing about our conference that's different to a lot of the conferences that you'll find even in South Africa and wherever else is our conference normally has the in-conference discussions, and then we always have a practical demonstration day where we actually showcase the latest drones. We bring in drones from all across the world and we showcase them in a practical sense, and we get to fly them around. Most conferences in the world don't do that. They just exhibit and they show you the drone on a stand or on a booth, but you don't actually get to see them in action. We always make sure that we get to show you in action how it operates. So you're invited to come to our conference. We'll let you know when that's happening. Other conferences that are there are things like Exponential, Interdrone, Commercial UAV Expo, World of Drones and Robotics that are held in different parts of the world. Okay, and in concluding, this is just highlights of some of our conferences. So this is our 2022 conference. You can see at the bottom there, we did a practical flight training at our training field as well. And we always have nice discussions and sessions where we really help professionals and aspiring professionals to learn and to grow. And we also do workshops. So we do a lot of workshops. We've done some in Zambia, for example. This one we did in Zambia to support the Zambian ecosystem there, and we're involved in quite a bit. Here, lastly, is the drone industry reports. Please make sure you read these. You can learn so much from these drone industry reports. Go online, look for an organization called Drone, then ii.com, drone ii, drone, and then ii.com. I don't really know how to pronounce that, but yeah, they put out some industry reports regularly, and they're great and useful reports for you to learn and find out more information on what's going on and see where you can fit in. Lastly, I want to encourage you to say, I want and I hope that you will choose to become a drone professional today. If you aren't already in the industry, I want to encourage you to look and seek out certification, look for a program where you can get a certificate that gets you on your journey into the industry. If you are in the industry and maybe you hold a drone pilot license, I encourage you to get your next rating, get a BVLOS rating, get a fixed wing rating, go for an advanced industry specific course. May you grow in this space, and may you then and through that be able to gain value within this industry. It's a very exciting industry and space to be in, and it's still growing. I mean, to be fair, it's only just started. I mean, it's barely, it's only 10 years old, to be fair. So there's a lot more to do, a lot more that can be done, and I encourage you to become a professional today. What remains for me is to just thank the organizers again for this opportunity to be on this platform. And what I want to do at this point is open up for any questions that you may have. I'm putting my details here. You can follow me on LinkedIn with my name there, Tawanda J. Chiambakwe. Look me up on LinkedIn, and I'll accept your connection, and we can connect. Or you can look up on Instagram at Drone Professional, African Drone Professional, or on YouTube, African Drone Professional, for my personal platform. If you're looking for our companies, just look up Precision Aerial or Zimbabwe Flying Labs on YouTube as well, and you can connect and follow on our different pages. Yeah, so I think for now, let me hand over to the hosts, but also open up the floor for anyone who has questions, anything they want to ask, anything that they would like me to maybe go through again, or any queries, or even just comments that you might have. All right. Thank you, and thank you for joining us on this platform, and thank you for connecting.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tawanda. This is a very profound section, and you really pour your heart into this, sharing the steps, how to navigate the journey easily from regulatory parts here to drone operations. It's such a very exciting time and excellent delivery. So now I quickly want to check if we have some questions for you. Can give an answer to that before we end this meeting. Just give me like 1 minute. Okay, I've seen one already. This person is asking that in getting a certificate of fitness, what are the medical conditions that may restrict one from flying? And is there a particular medical facility one is expected to get this certificate from?
Okay. Thank you for that question. I think it's Abigail. Right. So in terms of certificate of fitness, so we call that a medical certificate. So normally you can obtain that, right, from different places. But the first port of call is to connect with the Civil Aviation Authority in your country, so that you can get the regulations for your country, right? So when you have the regulations for your country, in the regulations, it will specify the type of medical certificate you are required to have. That's country specific. Okay, I'll give an example. Zimbabwe, in our regulations, it says that you need a minimum of a class 4 medical certificate. So there's class 1, 2, 3, and 4 medical certificates here in Zimbabwe, okay, for aviation. Class 4 is the easiest one to get Class 1 is the most difficult. Okay. In South Africa also has class 1, 2, 3, and 4. But they require, according to their regulations, someone to have a class 3 medical certificate, not a class 4. Okay. But that's determined by their regulations. So, first of all, look at your country, get the regulations, and then find out which medical certificate are you supposed to hold as someone who's seeking to get your remote pilot license. Okay. If it's a class 3 or class 4, then you will know who to approach. And now the people you can approach, to answer the second part of your question, is there a particular medical facility? Normally, for someone who's getting a class 4, you can go to any doctor, anyone who's a certified doctor. We call them a general practitioner or a GP in our country, right? It doesn't have to be a specialized doctor, just a general practitioner. They have a form that they have, a standardized form that you fill in, and then they will run very basic tests, very, very basic tests. So just your normal checkup and that kind of thing, right? Blood pressure, they'll just check your general fitness, they'll do eye test, and that kind of thing, right? Very basic, all right? So you can go to any doctor, that's in our country. In other countries, you might have to go to a specialized doctor, in other words, an aviation doctor. But again, that is country specific, okay? So my emphasis is on go to the Civil Aviation Authority, find out the rules and regulations, find out the requirement, and then that will tell you where you need to go if you can just go to your doctor. Then you said, are there any conditions that may restrict you? So for you to be a drone pilot, it's very important that your vision, right, your ability to see is important because you have to be able to control the aircraft, okay? So you have to be able to see it and see conditions, hazards, and take the necessary actions in the case of any hazards that may come into your operational area. So your ability to see is important. Now, if you wear glasses, that's okay. You can have corrective lenses, but if you still struggle to see, even with glasses, then that might be a problem. But the best way to determine and to understand whether you have an actual problem or not is to go for the medical test. Okay? There are many, many people with glasses who, have their licenses. It's not a limiting factor. You just need to be aware of, are you short-sighted? Are you long-sighted, far-sighted? And then take the necessary action. Are there other conditions that may restrict you completely? I think there are maybe certain, diseases or something that might be like chronic that could be an issue. Let's say if you're epileptic, if you suffer from epilepsy, that might be a problem. But generally, no. I mean, you could be diabetic; it doesn't make a difference. You could have some sort of disease or whatever. It doesn't really make a difference as long as you are tested and your doctor says that you are fit and able to do it. Then you should be okay. There isn't anything too restrictive. I know people who are even disabled, right? And being disabled is not a medical condition. It's just your condition, right? You can be in a wheelchair and be a pilot, okay? You can do that, right? So there's a lot of room and scope for anyone who's looking at becoming a pilot. And the best thing, like I'm saying, is first find out the regulations and then go see your doctor. And I think you can take it from there. All right. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you for the question. He's asking, after meeting all the necessary regulatory requirements, do we need special permissions for commercial work? Let's for spraying services. Okay.
Okay. That's a good question. Ibrahim Abubakar. I hope I've said your name correctly. So I'll answer this one quickly. Again, it depends on the regulations in your country, but I know for most countries, the license is really, just to certify that you know how to operate the aircraft. Okay, that's your personal license. It's yours. Okay, so that is for you to have. But now, when you want to do commercial work, things like spraying, there are other conditions, right, that you must meet when you want to operate your agriculture spraying drone. Some of those include things like airspace restrictions. So yes, you've met all the necessary regulatory requirements, but depending on where you're operating your spraying drone, there are certain rules you also need to meet that are specific from project to project. I'll give you an example. If you are flying your crop spraying drone in a particular region that is in an area that is close to an airport or any sort of
Okay, sorry about that. I think it's network issue from his end. Please, Mr. Tawanda, if you can hear me, I will advise you maybe leave the studio and rejoin again, so to give you the opportunity to continue. Right, you're welcome back. I think you can speak now. So.
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, sorry. So what I was saying is, if you're flying your agricultural drone in a particular region that is close to an aerodrome, in other words, close to an airport, maybe it's on a farm, yes, but it's in an area that's close to close to an airport or close to a military station, what we call army barracks. If it's close to a national monument or strategic, maybe it's close to a port or something like that, right? The conditions to fly drones closer to those kind of things are different to if you're flying your drone in a very rural, remote region. Okay. So the commercial work that you want to do, the special permissions you're talking about, the special permissions are determined by where you want to fly. Okay. You might be flying in a danger area, restricted area, or prohibited area, or wanting to fly near those. Okay. That's what will determine whether you need special conditions or not. Okay. So to simply answer your question, yes, you will need special permission for commercial work, but the special permission will be determined by the area in which you plan to fly. And with your training, when you get your remote pilot license, then level 1 training, you will learn about all those different places where you need to get special permission for. Okay. So in other words, when you have the license, you will know where and when you need to get special permission for the commercials that you want to do. Right now, if you don't know, if you haven't done the training, it's hard for you to determine where those places are where you need special permission to fly. So having your license doesn't mean now you can just fly wherever you want. No, you still need to understand the area that you're going to fly and then get the permission to fly in that area or get the approvals necessary for you to be able to conduct your spraying work. Okay. Oh, that's a nice question.
This person is asking that, does one's location determine a particular drone training to undergo, looking at environmental conditions?
The simple answer to that is no. It's not your location that determines your training. It's the type of operations you're going to do. Okay. The environment does not change. Your environmental conditions don't determine. There's no training based on your conditions. It's the type of operations. In other words, are you using a drone? Let's use agriculture, right? Do you want to use drones for smart farming to determine the health of your crops? In other words, do you want to do drones for mapping, or do you want to use drones for spraying? Okay, let's look at the type of operation, the use. What are you using the drones for? That determines the type of training you're going to do. So if I'm going to use drones for mapping, I need to go and get training to allow me to be able to use the drone for mapping. If I'm going to use the drone for spraying, I need to learn how to use the drone for spraying. Then in those two instances as well, there are special ratings you need to get. If I'm using drones for mapping, it means I will most likely need to get the beyond visual line of sight rating, the BVLOS rating. But if I'm spraying, I might not need it. Okay. But both of those things are agriculture. Both of those use cases are agriculture, right? When it comes to the environmental conditions, you will learn about environmental conditions in your level 1, the remote pilot license. In the subject, in the module called meteorology, that's where we look at the environmental conditions. And you learn all about how to navigate around those environmental conditions or to decide whether to fly or not. So it's not about location, it's about the type of operations you want to do. That's what determines the type of training that you undertake. Okay.
Thank you very much for that question. This person is asking, are there institutes in Africa that teaches drone manufacturing and software development?
Emeka, thank you for that question. That's a very, very good question. As far as I am aware, okay, I don't know of any training schools in Africa that teach drone manufacturing. In terms of drone software development, there might be one or two that do software development in South Africa, in Cape Town. I'll do some research. Maybe what you can do is connect with me and I'll see if I can try and connect you with some people that I know. But in terms of manufacturing, I know companies that do manufacturing. In other words, they manufacture the drones themselves, but the company doesn't teach that. So they don't teach you how to do the manufacturing. I don't know any company that does that yet. That could be a good opportunity for you to actually start your own business that does that, or partner with those that are manufacturing and have a training division that teaches drone manufacturing. But I know on software development, I'm sure there's one or two that teach software development. I hope that answers your question, Emeka.
Thank you very much. Brian is asking again, what are the applications of fixed-wing aircraft in agricultural space, and what's the difference between a fixed-wing and a normal drone? I think he's talking about a multi-rotor drone. Yes.
Applications for fixed-wing aircraft.
What are the applications of a fixed-wing aircraft in agricultural space, and what's the difference between a fixed-wing and a multi-rotor drone?
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you're audible. We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So for fixed-wing agricultural drone, fixed-wing aircraft used in the agriculture industry or agriculture space, it's really used in the same manner that you'd use a multi-rotor drone in agriculture. It's used for data capturing. It's used to capture data. So that data is then used to do the analysis that we talk about, where you talk about yield estimation, soil and plant health assessments and that kind of thing, boundary mapping, land mapping, or land use planning. It's used in the same manner. The difference with the fixed wing is the fixed wing is used to map larger areas. That's really it. So you use a fixed wing to cover a large area. So for example, we have a large fixed wing aircraft that we use for large scale aerial mapping, okay? So when we're doing small areas, let's say anything that's 100 hectares and below, right? We would use your multi-rotor. When you're now wanting to map 1,000 hectares, you would then need to bring in, or so 500 or 1,000 hectares, you would then bring in a fixed wing aircraft to do the work faster. That's really all you're doing. It's just a bigger drone. That's the use case for fixed wing. It doesn't do anything else different or special outside of being able to cover larger areas quicker. Okay. And the difference between a fixed wing and normal drones, the differences are quite a few in terms of the shape and the size. So a fixed wing looks like a plane, looks like the same shape and form factor of an actual airplane. It has the wings fixed to the body of the aircraft. It actually looks like a plane. It's just obviously a lot smaller. Whereas a multi-rotor has all those propellers and all these different shapes and cameras sticking out and that kind of thing. Your fixed wing also can fly higher, fly longer. Normally your fixed wing battery time, the battery lasts a lot longer than your multi-rotor. So generally multi-rotor, particularly the ones we use for aerial mapping, they last maybe a maximum of about 45 minutes, depending on the model of aircraft that you purchased. So that's your multi-rotor. The battery will last maybe 45 minutes before you have to land and change batteries and that kind of thing. Whereas your fixed wing aircraft, normally the batteries last a lot longer. On average, your fixed wing aircraft batteries will last a minimum of 60 minutes, 60. The ones we have, they last 90 minutes. So one battery lasts 90 minutes. So that drone can stay up in the air, for an hour and a half. And in an hour and a half, if it's flying higher, it can cover, for example, the one we have. We use the EBX and the Wingtra. So those ones we can do about 400 hectares, 400 to 500 hectares in one flight. Okay, that's a huge area, right? In one flight, in an hour and a half, I've done 400 or 500 hectares. Okay, so you can imagine that versus using a smaller drone, which I have to be changing batteries all the time. So if you're looking at doing bigger, larger scale work, then you want to use a fixed wing aircraft. Those are some of the differences. Fixed wing are also harder to fly than the multi-rotor. Multi-rotor is easy to fly, very easy. The fixed wing is a little bit more difficult and more challenging to fly. And there's a lot of other little differences. But again, all of this you learn in the level 1 remote pilot license. You will learn about the differences between the fixed wing and the multi-rotor. Thanks, Ibrahim, for the question.
Okay, he's asking Arzan Jallo, the pathway to being a professional drone pilot is very rigorous for safety reasons. That said, I was wondering, for a country like mine, Sierra Leone, with no established drone industries or institutions, where do you think the entry point should be for farmers to get their hands on drones? Thank you.
Okay, Hassan, I'm going to say this. If you don't have an established drone industry or drone institutions, are you then saying that there are no drone regulations in place for your country? If there are no regulations in place for your country, essentially what it means is it's free for all. It means you can fly where you want, when you want, and just hope that you don't get in trouble, right? There was a time and a period when we didn't have regulations, people were just flying, people were just doing whatever they were doing and hoping not to, crash or fly in places that they're not supposed to fly. So if there's no rules, the place to start is get your hands on a drone, buy it, and start using it. Okay. The advantage I think I gained was that I quickly went to, even though my country didn't have rules and regulations at the time, I quickly went to another country where they did have regulations. And at the time, South Africa was the only country in Africa, because South Africa was the first country anyway on the continent of Africa to have rules and regulations. So they were the first also to have training schools. So I quickly went to a country that had a training school, got my license, right? Which means I came back to my country with the understanding of how things should be done. Then, armed with my license and with my drone, I then went to the Civil Aviation Authority in my country and said, hey guys, I'm a licensed pilot. This is how things should be done. Please note, I would like to operate my drone here, 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 here. Because they had no rules, they couldn't say no. Right? What ended up happening is I ended up establishing a good relationship with the Civil Aviation Authority, and they ended up calling me to say, hey, we want to now set up the rules here. What do you think? Help us. Let's work together. Oh, and by the way, you should set up a training school because we're going to need to be able to train pilots. Oh, here, let's work together. You see what I mean? So that's what you want to do. If you don't have rules, be the first one to go and get the license and then engage your Civil Aviation Authority so that you can position yourself well for the future for when there are rules. Okay? But do the work. Get your hands on a drone, start working with farmers, go out and offer the services. There's no one stopping you, and there's no rules to stop you, to be very honest with you. So I would get going. Get my license, get a drone, or partner with someone with drones, and get to work. Thanks, Hassan.
Much for the question. Scarlett Michael is asking, someone who has had the BVLOS training, what are the capabilities and limitations of this training, i.e., what are you able to do and not do with this training certification? I think talking about your limitations and your privileges with the license.
Okay. Scarlett, thank you. Good question. I'll answer it very quickly. So there's VLOS and BVLOS, right? VLOS is visual line of sight. Visual line of sight is where you're limited in terms of operating your aircraft up to a maximum horizontal distance of 500 meters. In other words, you can only fly the drone 500 meters away from you, from where you have taken off from. Okay? And I'll emphasize from where you've taken off from. That's visual line of sight. Okay? So 500 meters away, that's half a kilometer. That's as far as you're allowed to fly. That's visual line of sight. Those are the rules for visual line of sight. In terms of height, you're only allowed to fly up to a maximum of 120 meters or 400 feet. That's visual line of sight. Then we have what you've asked, which is BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight. And just in the name, beyond visual line of sight means you are flying beyond that limit that I've just described. So BVLOS means an operation in which you cannot maintain direct visual contact with the aircraft at all, right? Where you are blocked by an obstacle or by distance, okay? So BVLOS means you're now flying beyond the 500 meter mark. Let's say you want to fly 1 kilometer, 2 kilometer, 5, 10, 20, 30, 100 kilometers away from where you're taking off from. You then need a special rating where you're taught about how to fly the drone beyond where your eyes can see it, okay? In other words, flying blind, right? The difference is when you're flying VLOS, you're flying the drone and you can see it the whole time. When you're flying BVLOS, you can't see it at all. Now, BVLOS can also be in a situation where you are flying your drone in a built-up area, let's say in the city, and you're flying your drone behind a building. The moment the drone goes behind the building, even though the drone itself might not be that far away from you, the drone could be 20 meters away from you. But if your view is obstructed, in other words, if you cannot see that drone at all times, that is considered BVLOS. It means you're operating beyond visual line of sight. So if there's an obstruction, it could be a tree, it could be a building, right? It's not about the 500 meters or 1 kilometer or that kind of thing, right? Any situation where you cannot maintain direct visual contact with your drone is considered BVLOS, right? And you would have to get the training and certification if you want to do that. So people who operate drones for power line inspections, building inspections, construction, all of that, the moment you do it, you need to get BVLOS. Okay, it's not just about distance. It's about you not being able to see it well enough to control it. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Scarlett.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I will take that as the last question for today. Okay. Okay, let me just take this as the last question from Nkem. The question just coming now. So it's asking that, assuming I have put in some level of work in training and certification, what drone/UAV do you suggest I get as a passionate starter and a dream digital farmer? Okay.
Okay. Okay. So to answer your question in terms of what drone should you get if you're starting out, I would say two things. There are different types of drones for agriculture. So first decide how you want to be, how you want to use your newfound skills. Are you wanting to use and I'll assume you're saying you're a dream digital farmer. Digital farmer meaning you want to do the mapping. You want to use drones to gather data and information about your farm and crops and all that kind of stuff, right? If you're on that side of the spectrum, I would simply say look for the drone that you can afford. Okay, the minimum drone required for you to be able to do what you need to do, and look for the one that you can afford. So yes, on the high end, in other words, the most advanced one that you can get, or one of the best ones that you can get is a drone with a multispectral sensor on it. Okay, any drone with a multispectral sensor, a fixed payload, where the sensor is actually fixed to the aircraft. Any one of those is probably the best. But you can do the work with any drone that can give you minimum of a good sensor and good data. Right now, that is even down to your DJI, mini drones, the DJI Air series. If you go to the DJI Air series, those ones are a little bit more affordable. So DJI Air 3, I would recommend. Then you can go, DJI 3 would be good. Then you can go DJI Mavic 2 if you want, if those are still available, or even the Phantom 4. I think right now you can still get the DJI Phantom 4. DJI Phantom 4 Pro is one of the best, and that you can get for less than $1,000. And I'm saying $1,000 US because it's a lot, but you can get that for a couple of $100. Secondhand, get that. Get a secondhand drone. Never buy battery secondhand. Buy batteries brand new, but the drone you can buy secondhand. So start there. Get a Phantom 4, look for Mavic 2, or get an Air 3S. And then you can get going. You can start capturing data. You can program your missions, and you can gather all the data you need and get going. As a passionate farmer, as you get more clients, you can upgrade your equipment. All right. I think that's it. That's it from me.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. It's such a wonderful time with you. A lot of people are saying they also enjoy the Q&A section, yes, with you, and I think they are very profound response, to the questions we've heard during the course of this training. Thank you very much. So we'll be closing this meeting very soon, or this training, this masterclass as we have it. Yes, but before you go, I want you to give a poem or word of encouragement to our participants that are currently admitted into the cohort 3, so they can hear from you. And people are I'm also seeing in the comment section that you might put on your video. I don't know if you have the privilege to put it on, maybe just to speak to them in this last moment then. So
I'm going to try to put on my video.
hello, sir. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. What I'm going to do, my laptop is the one that has a problem with the camera for some reason today. That's why I didn't switch on my video. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try connect here I'm going to try connect on my phone quickly here so that I can just see you guys. And if the host can let me in, then I will.
I'm yet to see.
Okay.
All right, no problem. If you're unable to on your camera, please do well to share your words of encouragement with them. Maybe some other time if you're finding it very hard
Okay.
to do that.
Okay. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to switch on my camera. I would have wanted to do that, but unfortunately, it's not working. You're gonna have to go onto my LinkedIn page to see my face. But yeah, so in terms of just maybe closing remarks, just a bit of guidance for you guys, and I'll do it in two parts. One, for those of you who are starting out, if you haven't already been in the industry in some form or another, either through the work itself or through training, my encouragement to you is, get involved now. This industry is growing. It's still at its early stages. Not only is it exciting, but it also allows and enables anyone who's getting in the industry to really work for themselves for the most part, and determine how far they can go with this industry. Because it's growing, there's so many opportunities that exist. Some of the comments that you guys gave here on this platform, someone mentioned, I think someone from Sierra Leone mentioned, oh, in my country, they don't have, you don't necessarily have an industry. It's your chance to establish that industry. Wherever there's a gap, if there's something lacking that you find in your country or in your space, be the person who fills in that gap. Get the necessary training, the knowledge, partner with someone, pair up as a group or a couple of you that are in this cohort or people from other cohorts and work together. You might not have everything available to you. You might not have access to a drone, okay? You might not have access to farmers or whatever it is, but if you come together and work together, there's so much that you can achieve. You might be the ones who establish the rules and regulations in your country. You might be the ones who establish the next training school. You might be the ones who set up that manufacturing, plant in your country. But get involved now. There's so many opportunities, and I want to encourage you guys to get your hands dirty. Get on the ground, do the work. Don't spend too much time talking and planning. Get your hands dirty. So that's it for the first group. The second group, the guys already in the industry, who have already got some experience. My encouragement to you is get certified. If you aren't already certified, do things professionally and properly. There's so much value that comes in knowing that you're doing things the right way. And there's a lot of trust you build with the regulator, the Civil Aviation Authority, and with your customers and your clients when you can say, hey, I'm actually certified to do what I'm doing. Okay. Also continue to increase in terms of your ratings, and try, if possible, try not to compete too much with the people around you. Try to collaborate. Okay. The next person who's doing it, no one owns the idea of using drones for agriculture. You don't own the idea. So many people will be thinking of the same thing. Rather than compete, try to find ways to collaborate with people. That way, you guys can do a lot more. The pie is big enough for everyone. Everyone can get a slice of the pie. There's enough work to go around. Okay? You don't need to fight over clients, fight over territories, fight over whatever region. Rather see, okay, look, this person has equipment that I have, or this person has skill set that I don't have, etc, etc. Let's find ways to work together. If it's projects, go after a project together. Don't go after like a client or a project on your own and try and win it by yourself when you know you can't. Try to collaborate, try not to compete. And like I said before, get your hands dirty. And I look forward to seeing and hearing stories about all the amazing things that you guys are going to be doing going forward. Thank you for the opportunity to the hosts, and thank you for your time to everyone who joined on the call today. And I wish you all the best in the rest of your training course for this cohort as you work to become professionals operating in the drone industry, but operating also in the agriculture space. All right. Thank you, guys. Cheers from me.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Tawanda. We sincerely appreciate your presence. You really add value to this program. Thank you so much for coming. On behalf of the entire Precision Feed Academy, as program administrator, I want to say a very big thank you for the honor you bestowed on us to be able to participate and share your knowledge with us in this program. Yes, so we'll be ending this stream very soon. But before I do that, so I quickly want to give us like a clearer perspective of what we do at Precision Feed Academy and the courses we had. So on our website, we have various courses and programs there. So this is industry-leading precision agriculture courses and drone training program. So at Precision Feed Academy, most of our trainings and activities is tailored into the concept of agriculture or the industry of agriculture, etc. So we have various trainings from beginners to intermediate to advanced, and we also have specialized courses tailored to special use cases. So we have this is the most basic training we have is called Basic Drone Pilot Competency Course for Precision Agriculture. So during the course of this training, you'll be able to, gather acumen and understand the operational ethics of the basic things required for you to be able to, fly a drone and how to operate it just from the beginner stage. So after that, we have A2C. This is a certificate of competency, UK Civil Aviation Authority certificate of competency, and this is a licensed because he mentioned, as speaker mentioned, and he reiterated and emphasized so much that for you to be able to operate a drone, you sincerely need to get a license. That is like a proven track record or testament that you've been trained on various subject matters, from regulation to weather to operational ethics compliance. So the license program is just to give you a sort of validation, yes, on how to be able to operate this drone. So you are going to pass through this training. It's in the form of an online training, so you can also see it on the website. So visit precisionfieldacademy.org/program, so you'll be able to see the various courses we have there. Then we also have some brochures attached to them, talking in details more of what this program entails, the duration, and what you can achieve with the program, what the program is also for. So for this particular ones I mentioned now, the UKCA, for all commercial drone operators, if you're actually looking at running a drone business, maybe in agriculture, for mapping, for geospatial, and this even goes beyond, this is not limited to agriculture alone, either conservation or oil and gas. Yeah, every one of them actually need a license. So license is just to give you a sort of validation. So aside from that, we have agricultural drone pilot program, and this is through the collaboration we have through DJI Academy. DJI is a drone manufacturer, but beyond the manufacturing, they have an academy where proper training on how to be able to use this aircraft they manufacture is given. So because drones, beyond just flying drone, the excitement of flying drone, the concern about the Civil Aviation Authority is the safety concern, the privacy concern. So during the course of this training, you'll be able to know your do's and don'ts, your limits, your privileges, what you are allowed to do, and what you can do that could attract legal suits. So it's a comprehensive training, but this is tailored more on agrass drones, especially for pest management, spraying of fields, maybe for malaria control, also for pest management on the farm, blight to control, and even we also still have the one we call the fruit mapping. That's for like orchard spray trees, like big trees like orange, oil palm. You really want to spray them, control pest or any issues you're having on the farm. Yeah, you actually want to make use of a sprayer drone. So this actually caters for a very comprehensive and professional training on how to handle agricultural drones. Also, we have precision land mapping and hard ticket surveying. So this is more like a geospatial side of course, where you understand digital surface model, elevation model. You want to understand your farm boundaries. Yeah, so even for the things you have like your land tenure specifications, you'll be able to have a clearer understanding on the kind of the topography, your farm topography, where you are, farming from and all of that. So this training provides a very comprehensive training, and this is tailored to like surveyors, agricultural surveyors, even data analysts, land managers, even farm managers too can also have this knowledge. So because if you are well informed, when matters are arising, issues are arising, it will really help you to be able to gather yourself together, make better decisions that will really change things for you. So we also have phytomapping masterclass. This phytomapping masterclass, this is strictly based on crop health monitoring and inspection. This is where we can say your crop can actually speak to you, like based on their specific need. So when you're flying a drone across them, collecting data, so if it's plant stress, nutrient deficiency, pest infestation, and all of those realities. So this course is tailored for agronomists, crop physiologists, or plant researchers, who really want to, even horticultural students who want to understand how this reality works with crops and be able to make proactive measures before things get out of hand. So we have various trainings. This is more like a specialized training. We also have corporate drone training. This corporate drone training is for institutions, could be Ministry of Agriculture, also NGOs, that's non-governmental organizations promoting agriculture. Could also be institutions like federal universities of agriculture, or private universities or public universities who want to have knowledge on the aspect of drones in agriculture and how those drones in agriculture affects them. And aside from this, also we also do to the delivery method through webinars, seminars, in-house training, to be able to build capacity at a university level. We also have executive drone consultation. So the executive drone consultation here is strictly based for C-suite executive or policy makers or people within the government sector who want to have a knowledge around drones, or could be agribusiness leaders who want to have agri-tech enterprises. Then how can drone be able to shape the future of what they are doing? How can they integrate drones into their workflow? What are the investment opportunities there? So these are various courses we have there, and we have some of them attached. The brochures are attached to them, while some you have to request for the codes, and you can do that on the website, so we'll be able to get an information from you to respond to you. So we're looking at where you are going to start, so you can just write your name, your email, send in your inquiries, then send it. Once you receive, we'll be able to give you a quick answer and guide you on how you can easily navigate your way. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for everyone who have joined, and I hope you've gained so much useful information in this training, which is going to help you navigate better on how to navigate your career. So, Precision Field Academy, we are based in Lagos, Nigeria, basically. So, but we offer trainings all around in different regions based on requirements and demands. So, at Precision Field Academy, our office is located in Lagos, Ojedebega. So, you can do well to request for any of our courses, and we can put you through what you were demanding for, then how to navigate it easily. So all right, thank you very much for joining. We finally come to the end of this presentation. I cherish everyone who have joined. Thank you so much, and the attendance will be shared to the group shortly, so we can all attend to it and sign in for our attendance. Okay, thank you very much. Do have a good day. We have a section tomorrow by 3 p.m. and this we're going to be bringing some PhD research students who have been working on side project on the concept of precision agriculture, and they're going to be sharing their perspective with us on their practice and research. So it's titled Precision Agriculture in Action, Practice and Research. So they are going to be sharing their perspective on their experience, so we can also gain expertise from them. So they are currently running their PhD program. All right. So thank you everyone for joining. So bye for now.